So neurodivergent people suffer a lot. No question about it. I used to as well, but after many years of studying the science and art behind happiness and health, let me tell you what I believe is completely missing from the neurodivergent conversation around mental health and happiness. And no, this isn't some super simple hack or trick that I could just make a TikTok about. This is a topic that has depth and real importance to it, and if taken seriously, will put you on a path to a genuinely good life. If you're watching this video, most likely you live around here, Europe or North America. At least that's what my YouTube stats say. Most of the people you engage with online, especially those discussing autism and neurodiversity, live around here as well. And so on the topic of treating mental health issues and leading a happy life, we really only get exposed to the Western approach to this. The Western view of understanding ourselves is mainly rooted in rigorous empirical evidence, replicability, and predictability. It also has a largely materialist outlook, focusing on what's measurable and observable. They study each organ separately, with a historical influence of mind and body being separate, and huge skepticism towards non-material or philosophical concepts. It's a very reductionist and mechanistic perspective that definitely has its strengths. The West's most common wellness recommendations are various kinds of talk therapies, psychiatric drugs, journaling, exercise, getting good sleep. These are the things that the West accepts as good, effective treatments for mental health issues. And I would say most of these are great. And rigorous science is also great. But if this Western view is all you're familiar with, I'm sorry to say, but you're missing out. So what can we learn from the East? For context, when I talk about the East, I'm mostly referring to the ancient sciences and schools of thought that originate in this area of the world. While the holistic perspective on health is getting more and more validation in the West, the East has been on top of this for thousands of years, since its beginnings. The East has always had a root cause approach to their healthcare, while the West has mainly been good at understanding and managing symptoms. The East has also understood the mind-body and mind-gut connection for thousands of years, while in the West, it's just getting started with exploring this. So while the West continues to find ways to empirically and rigorously back these holistic mental health remedies, the East has been experimenting with them for a very long time. Now, while the East as a whole doesn't necessarily have a statistically longer life expectancy or happiness, do know that there are many factors at play here. And it's important to take note that I'm not trying to put one over the other. The goal should always be to take the best from both worlds. Happiness and well-being, in my opinion, is something that the East actually has a very developed understanding of, particularly due to its roots in Buddhism, Hinduism, and Taoism, which are all philosophies that emphasize inner peace, fulfillment, and joy. Now, how does all this tie into neurodiversity? Neurodiverse people statistically have a worse mind-body connection, nervous system flexibility, gut health, ability to focus, postural impairment, and a sense of belonging. With each of these that I just mentioned, I'll be explaining the Eastern remedy for this. One thing you should know about me is that I'm hugely into holistic health, and with everything I'm talking about, I've put into practice and found benefit. Remember that none of these are one-time cure-alls, that if you do them once, you'll be fine or healed. The East emphasizes a healthy lifestyle that will not only cause healing over time, but will keep sickness from developing. First is mind-body connection. Yoga, qigong, and various forms of meditation are examples of very powerful things you can do at home to improve your mind-body connection. With yoga, you not only connect to different parts of your body by stretching into them, but you also release tension and stagnation in those parts of the body. Every time I do it, I feel much lighter and calmer. Vipassana style meditation is also a great practice of connecting to your body since it's pretty much a body scan meditation. This is a cure for dissociation from your body and being in the present moment. While meditation is difficult and takes dedication, the rewards are so sweet. Second is nervous system flexibility. As I mentioned in previous videos, neurodiverse people have a worse vagal tone, which is essentially the nervous system's ability to transition from a state of stress to a state of calm. Breathwork or different breathing exercises, which the West is catching up with, can really help. Either something like the 4-7 breaths or the deeper somatic breathworks are great ways of training your nervous system to adapt to stress. Also good to mention is the philosophical roots of Eastern medicine, which emphasizes trust in an all-encompassing, self-correcting, natural spiritual order of things. I'll touch more on this later, but it definitely helps to calm yourself down when you conceptually understand the inherent inner power of your being. Thirdly is gut health. While the gut-brain connection thing is really new in the Western health, in the East, especially in traditions like Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine, they strongly understood how certain foods, diets, and eating times affected our minds and bodies. They also really understood how to manage inflammation in the gut. But instead of referring to it as inflammation, they would make references to heat or fire in its way of describing it. These traditions also know a ton about medicinal herbs and spices you can add to your food to aid digestion. Aside from food, the East is also known about the benefits that fasting has, as well as various gut massages or yoga stretches that help loosen up the gut. I recommend the massage Chi Ne Tsang, which is a Taoist gut massage, which has helped completely loosen up and optimize my digestion, just through a simple self-massage. Number 4 is the ability to focus. Focus issues are immensely widespread in the West right now, with ADHD diagnoses and medication prescriptions skyrocketing. The rise of digital media and scrolling apps has definitely not helped with this. In the East, various forms of concentration meditations exist, which I recommend for some of my clients. There's breath awareness meditation like Anapanasati and object focus meditation like Trataka. Also just slowing the frick down and living a slower lifestyle, which is advised by the main texts of Hinduism, Taoism, and Buddhism, will make it easier to enter a flow state and will help the mind just move slower. And number 5 is that sense of belonging that neurodivergent people are all looking for. This isn't a sense of belonging in terms of socializing, although the East's collectivistic nature is probably much better for neurodiverse people than the individualist one in the West. This sense of purpose or belonging can be found in Eastern philosophies, which are central to the way the East lives life. In the West, we don't take philosophy very seriously. It's not seen as scientific and mostly just one's own opinion on worldly phenomena. In the East, however, great sages, philosophers, and spiritual teachers have found deep truths, not just about the world, but mostly about oneself and one's relationship to life. Generally speaking, the East has a philosophy of oneness, this idea that everything and everyone is part of an all-encompassing, self-correcting, natural order. Therefore, everyone belongs, everyone is equal, and selfless love is what everyone should strive for. That one eternal idea is who you are. And if you can recognize or realize it, it can potentially lead to enlightenment. Now you may be thinking, all right, sounds like some baloney or some religious dogma. And hey, I understand why. I was once a staunch atheist, staying as far away as I could from anything related to spirituality. But opening myself up to Eastern philosophy and diligently practicing my embodiment of it through meditation and self-inquiry was probably the best decision I've ever made for my well-being. These philosophical truths will probably never be empirically validated, and if you're highly left-brained or have a negative relationship with religion, it may be difficult for you to open yourself up to these ideas. Just know that these philosophies do not require blind faith, but often help facilitate direct experience with what the texts talk about. Finding happiness here in the West is entirely possible, but it often requires the right circumstances financially, socially, geographically, etc. And living in a Western country, there are plenty of opportunities to create all of these. But if you're neurodivergent, you cannot always rely on the circumstances around you to be perfect, which is why I invite you to go within and realize that wherever you go, there you are. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe this video if you found it interesting or you resonated. Thank you again for all the support, and I'll see you in the next video.